Ready. Okay, like I said today, Lekh, Lekha, we're ready for a somewhat intuitive approach. This is my style, to be intuitive with this. So I was very excited when I first, since Lekh Lecha has been something I've thought about, but I've always thought about it in the conventional ways, where the conventional approach initially, and to little kids to tell them is, God told Avram, go, and it's about going from point A to point B, somewhere else. So are we being told to go elsewhere? Or much later learning that I had was, are we being told, Lech Lecha, go to yourself, go in? And that's the question I'm going to put to you for your intuitive response today with your paper and pencil, but with a little more window dressing. So I'm going to say this. I discovered when I had to Lech Lecha, it was a revelation, because I'd been raised by a very, shall we say, patronizing is the negative talk, but paternalistic and male dominant and dominated kind of way. It was about me being taught how to adopt the wishes of others, the expectations, the teachings. And very often that's how we approach Torah. We're going to learn from it like we're going to get something from above or from others. And God bless the rabbis who've given us these gifts, things we can learn from them. But what I'm going to ask you to do now is that later learning that seems to me to be just as important, if not more important, to go and find for yourself, Lech Lecha, what is in there that you need to bring out, that you have a gift. What is your gift? And it seems to me Genesis, it's about the beginning of something new. It's about creation. And therefore this creation I'm asking you to do right now is uniquely yours. As we have always, one of the things about the conventional learning is that we honored Avram, and should have honored his spouse as well, Sarai. We honored them for striking out on a path that's new, to create something new. In a way, they're emblematic of what Genesis means, to generate a new people, a new place, a new way of thinking, a new way of being. So I invite you to consider Lech Lecha as doing just that. I'm going to sing you the first set of phrases so you have the melody of Torah in your ears, and it's going to be kind of a setup, and then I'll say something else. Vayomer Adonai el Avram, Lech Lecha, me'artzecha u'mimoledetecha u'mibeit avicha, el haaretz asher ar'eka, ve'escha legoy gadol, ve'avarechecha, ve'agadla shemecha, ve'yeh bracha. Simply, the first two voices are making a tremendous promise. Go, and if you can willingly pick up and go and leave everything you know, everything you have, and Lech Lecha, go, me'artzecha, from your own land, u'mimoladetecha, where you were born, where you were generated, u'mibeit avicha, and from your father's house, el haaretz asher ar'eka, to the land that I will show you. So let's look at it with the new lens. Not that someone from the outside is telling you to go somewhere with a lot of mystery and perhaps a lot of fear, but instead, smile, because the smile will give you some joy inside as you begin this effort. And with a smile, please look inside and see, what are you being told to generate with yourself right now in this new year that's coming up. Use your best. I've got my finest china and a silver spoon for my tea. I'm setting myself out to take the most joy and benefit from this experience. So start with the attitude that this is going to be great. And you're going to discover something. From this little couple minutes of writing, please, I'd like you to feel like you could digest a koan, a single sentence or phrase that is your marching orders for beginning generating, having this genesis. Let's take just 3 minutes to do that, in color or not, whatever you happen to have ready, and please go with that. So it's already 9:15. I've given you about 3 minutes, and I know that's not enough to do very much, but perhaps you made a beginning. And I don't suppose I have permission to ask each of you perhaps to show, if you have anything yet to show or say, one phrase that came for you in this meditation, this drawing meditation. Would we start with Ellen? Are you brave and ready? No, you don't have anything. Would anyone have something? You want to raise your hand if you have something? Or should we take another 2 minutes? It's a group decision here. Susan, you started to. Oh, you've got to unmute yourself. Everyone should unmute, I think.
Yeah, what came to me and I wrote it down is that what the new direction I think is to be less fearful, since all the negative news these days has had an impact on me. And I realized that when I was talking to my daughter last night, and she pointed it out to me that they're traveling to Copenhagen, Denmark to see their son who's taken his first half of his junior year in college in Copenhagen. And I was fearful about them going because of all Putin's threats about nuclear this and nuclear that. And, Copenhagen's closer to, so I guess I was expressing that, like, gee, I wish you'd decide not to go and maybe you could bring Brian home earlier than mid-December. And then she pointed out to me, and I realized that I have to be less fearful and less affected by all the negative news.
Excellent. Beautiful. Anyone else ready to add an inspiration to us, to our day?
Yeah, I also, rather than draw, I was doing kind of a, mental visualization, and I was just touching, what does it mean to let go of any limiting beliefs or narratives that I hold about myself, and which is endless. And that kind of took me, so maybe if I was drawing it out, it would just show the endlessness of that journey, to find an essence, which, yeah. Thanks, Joan.
It's very rich, because you began with a question and you're willing to stay in the question. And that was one thing I was going to say to people there's a lot of worry and concern on some people's faces. Yeah, it's early in the morning, so that's probably part of it. You're not quite on top of your consciousness yet, but that's okay, because that little subliminal place, look back again, there might be something right there for you. And what it's about is, as Roberta was saying, it's like trust. Yeah, there's going to be fear, but trust that little piece. That's you. Anybody else have something to add or show? Yes, Abigail.
Roberta, that was a really good comment, because the way I see Lekha, leave your home, leave where you were born, that's where all the buttons get installed that forever are pressed in our lives. And the thing to do, what came to me, which I was like, really? was be here now. There's just so much beauty around me, and just to be with what is, with my situation. I've always kind of felt bad about my situation in a certain way, like, oh, why don't I do more? Why haven't I accomplished more? And it's like, you're busy. You're very busy doing what you're doing. Just keep doing it. Like, don't judge it so much. Just be with what is and enjoy the ride.
Oh boy, that's a big one. Enjoy the ride.
So just like
big
leave
one.
every day, we have to leave where we were born.
Beautiful.
You're muted. You're muted.
Have you written that down? I'm not muted that I know of. Yeah.
No, Roberta is. Roberta
was
muted. Roberta responded.
I want to write down what you just said. Every day you have to leave where you're born. It's a brand new, every day it's another shot. Anyone else? Roberta, did you have something else?
I was just thinking what Abigail just said, that where you led us to, Joan, about what my Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh always said is, every moment you have to leave where you were born.
Absolutely.
And he would have us do these meditations, present moment, wonderful moment. And it's just like what you said, it's like when you really just present moment, it usually is a wonderful moment. And, you know, even if terrible things are, well, even though terrible things are always happening, like this very moment is a wonderful moment.
Well, something that Rabbi Jonathan said is it's this and.
I
This,
like that.
so it's
You know-
not or, it's not an either or, you know, but. He said, stop saying but. You know, but there's war and people and the Korean and right now, you know, like I have flour in my pantry, I have gas in my car. Right now, I do, you know. And I'm looking at like all the beauty in all the little squares. Like Roberta, you're coordinating with that beautiful tapestry behind
Oh,
you.
yeah. I'm loving that tapestry.
And your shirt matches. It's like, oh wow.
Wow.
Oh my God, look at that. Oh, that is phenomenal. That's gorgeous. That's really gorgeous.
And I want to reflect to you, I'm looking at the gallery of all your beautiful faces and you're all smiling now, which you weren't. You were, initially, there was only Roberta was ready to smile when we started. And now everyone's, I think, getting in sync with that energy, which is really lovely. And I definitely noticed that the pattern behind you was inspiring joy for me. There's a reason why some of these things get created the way they are. The patterns, the geometrics, I think, is that Islamic art by any chance? Or is it like?
Yeah, I'm in my niece's house and my nephew, her husband is Israeli, and he has done quite a bit of humanitarian legal work with Palestinian rights. So it could be Palestinian, but I don't know. They're all at work. I'm here. Enjoying their house.
You're spending time together. That's wonderful. Anyone else now intuitively responding to some of this chat? Meg?
Yeah, I just, hearing Lekhi, Lach, female going inside, just brought up to me Li, El Lamed Yud, Li, to me, and the inner, to me, and to allow so much that's around, that's the beauty, and there's the not beautiful, but to allow all the beauty in. And I just drew a little Lamed Yud, which is probably backward, but can't.
That's beautiful.
Anyway.
What kind of paper is that?
Beautiful. Well, this was my palette paper. I've started painting again, and I just cut out a little piece of
That's it.
my blue.
Oh, that's so great.
Nights ago.
Calligraphy you did.
That is gorgeous.
Amazing calligraphy.
That is really pretty. That's really
Anyway,
good.
Lee. Lechi, Lach, but it's the E part to me, Lee, and not alai. It's not on me. It's just Lee.
To you.
That was my.
Well, you know what? That's gorgeous. And what I'm also going to mention is, as a painter, to the journey to free myself from the built-in expectations that hold back your brush as you begin. You know, the training you've had where it has to be this color or this style or whatever, or your expectation of your end product before you even put the brush to paper. These are the things that keep us in our old country and that stop us from generating and finding the new. So what you just modeled for us was the spontaneity of tearing from the palette. I love it. And using what has been smushed around, not with intention, but just, in the act of painting, that palette gets smushed around. And then you've used that energy to come to yourself, Lee. And you've taught us something about going to me. Thank you. Someone else have anything? Anyone else?
Well, just the Lamed and the Yud, you could also see it as to God, because Yud is divinity. So it's And also the Lamed is about teaching and learning. So in learning and coming to yourself, you're really learning about God, the God place in you.
Oh, beautiful.
Mm.
That's a beautiful thing. You're coming to the divine spark. Namaste. Namaste. We have so much to learn from all these other spiritual traditions that we reach out to. Thich Nhat Hanh would approve, I'm sure. And I thank you. I'm seeing that we've used a lot of time. I would go on for the next hour or two, and I don't think we have the option. But I want to thank you so much,
Thank you.
and I want to ask you, please, to make a l'chaim, whatever you had to drink. I could ask you to, if you could, grab something, and I'd like us to drink to each other. And what is the what is the symbolic meaning of drinking? It's taking the agua vita, the water of life, to yourself. And that's how I wished to end, with some very special tea in a very special cup. Drinking, and that's why drinking to each other is such a common way for people to come together and do something spontaneous, simultaneous, that is about life. L'chaim.
L'chaim, draw water in joy from the living well. Draw water in joy from the living well.
Beautiful. Thank you, Meg. I've got to learn some songs from you. Next time I call you, it will be to ask you to teach me that song. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Lekh Lekha was my bat mitzvah parsha, which is why I grabbed it. And I'd say that, the life of the child that I was has changed so much. And much of it is out of the benefit I've gleaned from these beautiful teachings and interactions with Woodstock. And I'm so in gratitude for that. So I wanted to absolutely end with gratitude. The funny thing, if I might note, is that what I had written down as my koan was, and I think I have it right here. I may not, so I may not have the page here, but anyway, I had this big sign for myself in my meditation and study room, which this is, and it says, "Are you doing the right thing at the right time?" And yes, that is an inspiring thought. If I stop moment by moment, as you were saying, even in the moment, every moment, there's this possibility of being born. I want to end with something sort of a mortal note, which is that any moment can be the moment of our death as well. And that is generating the next level of energy that we'll inhabit. So I want to say it brings a note of joy to even that moment, that even as Thich Nhat Hanh inspired me, that the mention of Thich Nhat Hanh, that every moment, what I intuitively got from that was even the moment of death can be generating and a genesis. So with that, I want to wish you l'chaim and wonderful things today and every day and every moment. L'chaim.
L'chaim.